Welcome to the MacGuffin, episode 281. I'm Spencer.
I'm Greg.
Today we're going to discuss Captain Phillips in honor of its release on this Friday, October 11th.
Yes.
This is the true story of Captain Richard Phillips and the 2009 hijacking by Somali pirates of the U.S.-flagged Maersk, Alabama, the first American cargo ship to be hijacked in 200 years, if you can believe that.
I think that's crazy, but I think it's also equally crazy that this only happened 4 years ago. It happened 4 years ago. 3 years ago, the dude wrote a book about it, and now there's a movie. I feel like probably the moment that book came out, someone who already knew the story had already had a deal worked out and was like, just wait, as soon as that guy writes his book, boom, we'll buy it.
I mean,
like, it's with the way movies turn around nowadays.
If you think about it, though, like especially with something that like occurs in a modern era, like people want to get on that zeitgeist as fast as possible. I mean, honestly, 4 years, it kind of seems old at this point.
That's actually a good
it's
point,
like I was like, was that thing that happened a while back?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so it's not and maybe that's a good thing for people because it was not quite as fresh, and they're not just like, this is like watching the news all over again. But
I think one of the few things that you maybe want some distance more is politics related, because people still have a strong opinion. Like Game Change, that was what, 4 years after the
election.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. I will say, though, that it never hurts to have Tom Hanks coming into something. I'm totally on board with that. It really, really doesn't.
Just today, I actually put something on the Twitter for you about someone pieced together something they called Tom Hanks the Movie, where they made one linear story out of a variety of his films. And
awesome.
It went like, Forrest Gump to Castaway, or Forrest Gump to Apollo 13 to Castaway to Captain Phillips.
Pretty good stuff. And there's so many things that they skip. I mean,
I know.
Philadelphia.
Oh, I know, but I mean, just didn't make it like there was like one character like goes into space, crash lands on an island.
That's pretty good.
The ship picks him up, gets hijacked by Somali pirates. Like,
that's pretty good. I mean,
clever.
And is there anyone more likable than Tom Hanks in film?
I don't think so.
Like, he's just such a friggin' charming guy. Like, I think about, like, I just saw Runner, and though that film was not great, I mean, Ben Affleck, Justin Timberlake, both very charismatic fellows, but I don't know if there's anyone more charismatic than Tom Hanks.
Yeah, he manages to be charismatic and likable, and that's usually you. I mean, I think the closest you could get after him, but he doesn't get roles that really highlight it as much, is maybe like George Clooney, as far as charisma and likability. Right. But he doesn't have those like down home, like kind of more just happy stories that Tom Hanks is willing to do, as well as obviously the serious dramatic roles.
Yeah, I feel like George Clooney is more, I don't want to say desperate for recognition and acknowledgement of being a serious actor. Probably from his TV days, he's become a little bit more
start out, you work on Roseanne. You got.
I mean, it's not like Tom Hanks wasn't on Bosom Buddies.
That's true. That's true.
But I feel like he feels much more a desire to prove himself, whereas Tom Hanks just feels cool, just doing whatever makes him happy or interest him.
Yeah, it might be how long they've been in the industry too. Tom Hanks is probably by this point like, you know what, I pick projects that I care about. I don't get the rest of the time. Who cares?
Honestly, I don't know. I think they've both been probably fairly close to the same amount of time. But that being said, it's interesting that they went for a more local feel for the pirates in terms of that, getting people who had no background.
Yeah, they wanted actual people from the Somali culture
who were not like professional actors.
Yeah, and I think they ended up having to go to like Minneapolis was the highest concentration in America of Somali culture that was more than just first generation immigrants. So that's where they actually went to go, and then they were expecting, they're like, okay, we'll find the biggest community, we'll go there, we'll get some. They ended up with like 700 to 800 people showing up to apply.
Wow.
And the main pirate and
Barkhad Abdi.
And the other gentlemen are all actually his friends. It's like him and his group of friends were the ones that they picked.
That's probably smart to keep some sort of level of chemistry. The fundamental problem I have with a film like this is the same I have with any prequel. It's that the film is based on a book that was written by Captain Phillips.
You know where it's going.
I might not know exactly where it's going, but if he wrote the book...
But on the flip side, while I totally agree with you, because it kind of ruins the suspense of like what's going to happen in the end, people who like real life stories, for them it's not about the end, it's about the journey. So for them it's less that, oh, we know Captain Phillips lived, and more, what he went through to get there. In the same way Apollo 13 wasn't any less amazing because we knew the outcome of it.
Yeah.
It was about seeing the process and feeling that tension while it was occurring. Also Tom Hanks, of course.
Or is it more awesome when they change history, like Inglourious Bastards?
It is. It is always more awesome when you change history.
So it's like,
or
he
Abraham
dies.
Lincoln Vampire
Maybe
Hunter.
he
Come
does
on.
die. I'm not saying, we don't know that for sure.
I think it's interesting that, I wouldn't have thought about it when I first looked at this, but directed by Paul Greengrass. Yeah. Mostly action related. He did Bloody Sunday, Bourne Supremacy, Bourne Ultimatum, Green Zone. Yeah. United 93, I think, as well, which is the plane
September
one.
11th one, yeah.
And so, you got a guy who's like more known, in fact, maybe criticized in the latter ends of the Bourne trilogy for being the fast cut supreme action.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point, and maybe this isn't quite as much of an action film, but if anything, I think it might work better than the Bourne movies. I know a lot of people love the last two Bourne movies as their favorite ones.
Really?
Oh, yeah, a lot of people. Personally, I think, I was just rewatching the first one, and I think I might like the first one the best.
I think it's, for me, it's like the first Star Wars trilogy. It's 1, 2, 3.
And it's not like I don't like the other two, but I feel like his style of this sort of handy cam.
I don't think he did the first one, right?
No, he did not.
Okay.
Yeah, Doug Liman did that.
Yes.
But it's like the handy cam stuff is. I mean, it's sort of. It becomes so frantic that it's hard for me to really even engage sometimes.
Yes.
But I feel like this movie would be more conducive to that sort of handy cam because it's like it's putting you as a person within the experience.
On that boat.
Where it's just like the frantic action is just supposed to make it feel like more frantic action, where it's like this is sort of almost like a first person fly on the wall perspective, where it's like you are part of this experience. You are going with Captain Phillips on this journey and you're fighting for survival with him.
And I mean, they shot it all in the water. Like they spent like a good 40 days shooting this film out at sea. Like they dedicated themselves. Obviously there's probably some indoor sound stages stuff that they did, but I mean they still took the time to actually
keep it relatively authentic.
I also think it's interesting that one of the things that Paul Greengrass wanted to do is he made sure he had this idea in his head that he wanted the Somali actors to not meet the rest of the principal actors until the moment that they stepped on
Pulling
board.
a Goonies.
Yeah, and he described in an interview, he said, there's always that moment that you don't think about as an audience, but when you're making a film, there's always scenes the crew gets excited about being ready to do. Like, we're going to have this one moment, like it'd be in Heat, when Robert De Niro and Al Pacino actually have their scene together, and things like this where the crew is kind of built up. So they all had this, like, okay, 2 to 3 weeks into shooting this, we're going to actually have, or whatever duration into shooting this, we're going to actually have these people meet. And Tom Hanks said he was terrified when the Somali actors first walked in their first scene, because he's like, you got these skin and bones guys with AK-47s in their hand acting really intense that he's never seen as normal haha laughing people. He's only seen in their role. He doesn't know
what they're really like.
Yeah, and so he said it was really, really, like, emotionally, he felt it when they walked in.
Does Tom Hanks really need any additional help to like drop?
It's for everybody else.
Like high quality acting. I'm sure Tom Hanks can do whatever the fuck he wants. And
also, interestingly enough, they had actual real Navy personnel take care of Tom Hanks after his character is rescued. Spoilers. They actually had like real people in there dealing with it, rather trying to be more legit rather than being like, let's make it cinematic and are you okay, sir? Like they had actual dudes doing all the rescuing. So again, kind of trying to get in that with the steady cam, or with the handy cam, or kind of getting you into that action, which I think is, in a story like this, what impresses people about it, why people bought the book. They want to see what the dude felt at each moment.
It's funny, like, the film has gotten a fairly good response. Alan has already seen it, and he said it was good. I mean, it still suffers from that thing of, like, it's not as dramatic when you ultimately know the outcome, but it's much, if you enjoy the journey, it's going to be a good one. But, like, a lot of critics have said it's a comeback for Hanks, which sort of surprises me in some ways.
When did he ever fall?
Yeah, that's sort of my perspective. I mean, the films was incredibly close, extremely loud, or incredibly... incredibly close, extremely loud.
Yes.
But like, that film seemed to get bashed because it was a Best Picture nominee.
Yes.
Like, everyone's like,
what's that movie with Julia Roberts, Charlie something?
Charlie... Charlie Wilson's War.
No, not that one. The other one, more recent, where he's the older student.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he's had some recently, but it's not like it's been so bad that he's, like, slunk to Razzie's level. He's still Tom Hanks.
Yeah, no, I mean, I feel like a lot of people have taken him for granted. I mean, there was a point during, like, the early 90s where almost every single year he was nominated and winning Best Actor, and
Forrest Gump Apollo 13 days.
I mean, it's certainly, like, he's not doing that every year now. But at the same time, I don't feel like he's trying to do that.
Yeah, do you want him to? Do you really want Tom Hanks to be in a movie every single year trying to compete for Best Picture? I mean, maybe you do, but I don't. I would rather it be, like, every couple of years based on something he actually cares about that's worthwhile, rather than being like, I gotta be in everything. I gotta be like Jason Statham with action movies and be in one every year and a half.
It's so funny, like, people almost become tired of him being so great. It's sort of interesting, and maybe it speaks to how great she is, that Meryl Streep still seems to get that, like, default nomination almost every year, because, like, did they do something better than Meryl Streep plays? Then guess not. Let's put
her on
but, like, there seems to be some, like, loss of enthusiasm for Hanks just because he's been so good for so long. And I mean, I'm glad to hear that he's getting some more recognition, because I think the dude is just phenomenal all the time, and I think he deserves to be considered.
I don't know if this is why people do it, but one of the things that I personally have just experienced is seeing as time goes on, I feel like he has, I won't say not aged well, I will say he has tried to maintain a youthful look or character that he maybe shouldn't embrace. I feel like this is a little bit more on that other side of trying to go more the distinguished older actor rather than the he's probably middle-aged, but maybe he's not type of thing, which I feel a lot of it, like The Terminal and a lot of his last films, kind of feel more like he's trying to play someone a little bit younger than he actually looks and appears.
Maybe.
But that's just a visual thing for me. When I see his face and it looks too photoshopped and plastic surgeoned.
I mean, he definitely has generally been playing films that are a little bit more on the lighter side, for sure. I mean, Terminal, Catch Me If You Can, Charlie Wilson's War. I mean, they're definitely not as heavy materials like Philadelphia. But then again, I mean, he's always been sort of doing stuff. I mean, you think about Splash or Forrest Gump even. I mean, there's been a fair amount of, like, he's done a good job of altering it, and maybe just now that he's doing a little bit more on the dramatic side. And for the record, it was Incredibly Close and Extremely Loud. Very dramatic film. I mean, it's about a kid who loses his father during 9/11. I mean, I mean, I don't know. I'm sorry. He's, like, kind of a nice guy before he dies in that movie. Like, sorry, but
sorry, I guess.
I don't know.
Question mark?
Yeah. I don't know.
Wait. For you guys, there we go.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm a huge Hanks fan.
Yeah.
And I mean, even though this is a story that's already had the outcome known to the general audience, I'm still looking forward to it.
Yeah, I feel like this is going to be one of those ones that I'm not going to probably expect a lot out of when I see, but I have a feeling I will probably still be relatively entertained and taken along for the ride based on that fact.
Yeah.
So
let us know your thoughts about Tom Hanks. Let us know your thoughts about Captain Phillips, Paul Greengrass, any of that stuff at MacGuffin. That's MacGuff.in, or at MacGuffinCast on Twitter, Facebook. Facebook.com/MacGuffin Podcast. Phone number 323-761-9842.
Harass me and Spencer 24 hours a day.
Please do. We're on iTunes, Blip, Miro, Roku.
Check in and get glue. Get some stickers to slap on your friends' faces.
Please do.
Give us some stars on iTunes for your weekly commute, and thumbs on YouTube.
And we'll
comment.
Check you out next time.
T-1000 can't stop me, I'm on fire tonight. Magneto can't stop me, I'm on fire tonight. Even Zod can't stop me, I'm on fire tonight. It's tight, don't even try to bite the side. Mr. Spock can't stop me, I'm on fire tonight. The Wrath of Khan can't stop me, I'm on fire tonight. The Borg can't stop me, I'm on fire tonight. Because I've got space game and it feels alright.